With the Bills losing to the Broncos, the Jets still control their own destiny when it comes to the playoffs. But can this offense get out of its own way? Who knows? What's going on, guys? As always, I'm Pat. This is JetCast. And yeah, we were at, 3% chance of making the playoffs after the Raiders game. We jumped back up to 25% after the Bills dropped to the Broncos. So I'm not sure what kind of metrics or, what those numbers really mean at this point. But the fact is that our offense really needs to get its act together. At this point, we're wasting a Super Bowl caliber defense when our offense literally can't beat a college football team, as far as I'm concerned. The amount of bonehead plays, the play calling, bonehead plays, and penalties have just been too much. It's pissed me off. I'm sure it's pissing you guys off. We're the third year in a row of having the worst offense in the league, and something has to change. And a few things I think did change between these games. So Michael Carter got cut, and you hate to see it. He was a draft pick, a fourth-round draft pick, I believe, and he had a great rookie year, but the last 2 years really kind of fell off a cliff. He had some great social media posts. He was well-liked in the locker room, but at the end of the day, production is what matters, and he just wasn't producing, especially with Dalvin Cook now on the team. So Izzy Abanikanda is going to get a shot here. I think the biggest thing with him was he couldn't quite figure out the blocking scheme, but he must have figured it out recently. Otherwise, I don't think they would have made this move. And the other big one, which really hasn't been said publicly, but kind of was said in a roundabout way by Robert Saleh, was that I think C.J. Uzomah is getting benched, and we're going to see a lot more Jeremy Ruckert. He's, at this point, right now, a better overall player than C.J. Uzomah, especially in the running game. He's a much better blocker. Now, things going into this Bills game, the Bills, something is just not right there. Something is not clicking up in Buffalo, and I'm really not sure what it is. They do have an average defense, but they had a ton of injuries, and they've been hoping that the offense is going to really carry them. And so far, they just hasn't. Josh Allen has really been struggling, and he's throwing a ton of interceptions. And Stephon Diggs, it appears, is getting really frustrated up there. So I know they had a players-only meeting, just like we had a players-only meeting. But I'm not sure against this defense what Josh Allen is going to really be able to do. Because honestly, in the last few games, we've been in Josh Allen's head. We've had the Bills' number. For some reason, we play them really well. And seeing them drop a game at home against the Broncos gives me, confidence that we'll be able to keep them in check. But again, it goes back to our offense. Are we going to be able to score at least 14 points? Right? You're probably going to need to score at least 20 to win, but I don't even think they can score 14 at this point, unless there is just an infusion of speed by Izzy Abanikanda and just solid play by Ruckert. There's not much change that they've done really at this point. So, it's hard to say which, where this game's going to go. The Bills did just fire Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, considering that it happened Tuesday morning, and you kind of have a bit of a short week, so the time to put in changes from at least Joe Brady's perspective, the new offensive coordinator, is going to be tough. So I don't expect too much to change from an offensive point of view. So here are some of the keys that I had to this game. Obviously, like I said, we're going to have to force Josh Allen into mistakes, which we have been able to do. He has been turning the ball over at a clip that is extremely high. We have to force him to make a mistake. We have to force interceptions. This team as a whole wins games when we win the turnover battle. And when we're not at least +2, +3 in the turnover battle, these games get really tight. We need to be able to give our offense a short field a few times. And, going into the offense, they have to score a touchdown. right? I've said this. Zach Wilson needs to start throwing touchdowns. The play calling needs to start getting better in the red zone. There's no other way to put it. There's no way to sugarcoat it, right? You can't win unless you score points. Okay? The run blocking needs to be much better. Breece Hall's got to get going. Dalvin Cook seems to like he's finally, got his legs underneath him. Let's see this team actually put together a drive and score. And finally, like I also said before, the coaching staff needs to step up, which it seems like they're doing. They're making some changes to the offensive side of the ball. They realize that there are problems there. Michael Carter's gone, the benching of CJ Uzomah, hopefully. I know they haven't said it outright, but our coaching staff has got to step up. They've got to stop babying Zach Wilson. Let him rip the ball down the field. If he throws a pick, he throws a pick, but at least we're pushing the ball downfield and forcing these defenses to respect Zach Wilson's arm. Because right now they're not, and they're stacking the box. We can't run the ball, and then the rush is all in Zach's face. The offensive line can't hold it, and we're 3-and-out over and over and over again. I understand, the potential of Aaron Rodgers coming back soon. I still find it hard to believe that he will be back this year, considering that it was an Achilles injury. If this team, though, can just keep their heads above water, keep treading water until that time where Aaron Rodgers could potentially come back, then, all bets are off. There's the possibility of going to the playoffs, the possibility of making some noise in the playoffs is right back on the table. Now, there are rumors right now that he could possibly come back week 14. I know there are some reports out there that game could get flexed to Monday night, which is a possibility. But to be honest, he's got to start practicing, right? He's got to at least get on the field and start practicing with the team at least after Thanksgiving. And the last I heard was that I think on Pat McAfee, he said he's not even running with all of his weight yet. I think he's 50%. He's running on a special treadmill that keeps about, you can set it to how much weight you want to keep on your legs, as you run. And he's at like 50% of his total body weight. Can that change in a week and then him be in the facility and practicing with the team? It's hard to believe, but there's nobody in that building, and Aaron Rodgers himself has said that it can't happen. So if it does, it would be just a shot in the arm to this team that really needs a true leader on offense. And I don't think there is a leader right now on the offense. Zach Wilson certainly ain't it. I think my opinion of Zach would be different if, say, like after a Garrett Wilson drop, or after a Breece Hall fumble, or after a CJ Uzomah dumb holding penalty, he got angry or got in someone's face and actually took that leadership role and said, "Hey, you're not doing your job." It doesn't seem like he's that kind of person. If he was playing the way he was playing, but showed that more emotion, showed that ability to step up and get in guys' faces who aren't doing their job, I think my opinion of him would be much different. But he doesn't seem like he's that kind of guy. He doesn't seem like he's really the alpha male that this offense needs, or this offense had with Aaron. So hopefully we see him back on the field starting to practice soon. But as far as this game goes, it's going to be a low-scoring game due to the fact that we have consistently shown that we can get inside Josh Allen's head, and the fact that our offense has been as putrid as it has been. The Bills' defense is not right now as good as it has been in the past due to injuries, and they were kind of pedestrian before that. There was a brutal loss that they had against the Broncos, especially in the way they lost. They lost that game in the most Jets way possible, to be completely honest. And I was shocked to see it happen. I'm sure There were millions of people out there that were shocked to see the Bills play the way they did. They're 5-5, which is surprising, very surprising. And if the Jets can get anything going on offense, the division is still up for grabs, and the playoffs are still up for grabs. The Jets hold their destiny in their own hands. And it's a matter of, are they going to step up or not?